Before all the major works and name change, we took a trip up to Fraser Island, which is now known as Gari, to give the boat a little bit of a shakedown and also to try and see some whales. First stop was at Dog Creek, which now we know not to do again given just how fast that current runs through it. Live and learn. Then we had a night at Double Island Point, which, gosh, it was rolly and rocky that night. I don't know if they have good nights there, but we certainly did not have a good one on that first night. Still, it's really pretty. So we got up early and then we prepared to cross the Wide Bay Bar for the very first time. As is protocol, everyone donned life jackets, including Mishka. And she's amazing. She just took it all in her stride. And while for first timers we thought the waves were a little bit swelly, it turned out to be a pretty reasonably easy crossing and we were off on our way. After crossing the bar, we began making our way up the sandy Straits towards Kingfisher Bay, having a small unexpected stop at Urangan, and then on to Hervey Bay itself in the hopes of seeing some serious whale action. While we were at Gary's, there were some cute little dolphins that came by to say hello, and we found the anchorage had quite a lot of crabs in it, so we ended up having quite the feast while we were there. It's supposed to have a lot of sandflies, but that time of year we really didn't notice it at all. So after a couple of days being a bit rained out there, we took the plunge and took ourselves up the Great Sandy Straits, which, to be honest, was a little bit harrowing because we hadn't done it before, and everyone has said that you either have touched bottom on the Great Sandy Straits or you're lying about it. But we made it up without incident, I'm pleased to say, and then found our way up towards an anchorage which was just south of Kingfisher Bay Resort. We had a few rainy and boat leaky days there and quite the disaster when it comes to our rollers at the bow, which we will talk about later, before we made our way up to Hervey Bay itself.
You can probably hear that the engines are running. We had a couple of days, 3, stuck, if you want to say stuck, at Kingfisher Bay. It was raining so hard. We were losing spirit at one point. That being said, there were more spirits on the boat than you can shake a stick at, so we were all right. But we've woken up to a beautiful sunny day today. It's Thursday, it's the 15th of August, and it's just spectacular along here. But of course, with 2, maybe 3 full days of rain, we've not had any charge into the batteries, so we've had to motor a bit this morning to try and get the batteries to come back. That being said, the wind is right on our nose. Look at me, using all the terms, and it's not very breezy, so lovely for a tinny, but for sailing not so great. But we're out, we just saw whales. They came out and waved their flippers at us and did a little bit of a tail slap. There's a lot of fog at the minute, which is kind of eerie. I feel like I'm in one of those pirate movies, which is apt given the pirate heritage of the family. But it's beautiful. We're just rounding the head, so we're coming into Hervey Bay any minute. So over here, let me oh, can't do that. I don't know what I'm doing with the camera, but sort of behind me here is the corner of the island as we come into the bay itself. swimming around the boat, just eyeing us off and poking their little flippers up and giving us a wave. It's amazing.
Under the boat.
Oh dear Lord.
He's under the boat.
He's going under. Oh dear Lord. Oh dear Lord. We are completely surrounded. There's one in the back that's two in the back. There's another one here getting his barnacles off, having a little backward swim. He's got a lot of action going on right now. And then there's one right here in front. And then over here next to Jason there's another two. Oh my lordy, we're completely surrounded. That's so cool.
compare the length with the boat. I think that'd be 30 feet.
He totally just gave us a look.
Yeah. Close. Oh my lord. Have you been splashed by a whale?
Well, hello, we're checking in from Gari. It's the 16th. We've had a few pretty trying days and it's a bit rocky at the minute, so forgive the up and downy business. I'm hopeful that you'll see some of the whales that we're seeing in the background. But what a gorgeous sunset we're having tonight. We've had a pretty rough few days with bits and pieces going wrong with the boat. But we're now tucked up at a place called Arch Cliff, and it's really pretty. It's got a beautiful white beach and turquoise waters. This is a little rocky rolly because the wind is coming from the wrong direction, but we got a bit scuppered with time and had to pull up stumps here, so I suspect I won't be very happy later on, but I have got gin, so that's all that really matters. But I suppose I just wanted to check in and let you know that we're okay. Despite the fact that we've had a rough couple of days. I mean, you know, you can talk about it. At the end of the day, we're out on the ocean, we're seeing whales, we were completely surrounded yesterday by them. It's pretty magnificent. But in the spirit of kind of being a bit real and a bit honest about it, it's been tough the last few days. We broke off a part of the front of the boat, one of the rollers for the anchor chain. Jace had to scoot off to another boat and borrow what's called a hooker, which is not the kind of hooker that you think. Which is kind of like a scuba thing that let him dive down on the anchor because we thought we were hooked onto something because we just couldn't get the anchor up. Managed to resolve that, but we had to let all of the anchor out, all of the anchor chain out, and then reattach it to the other. We actually luckily had another roller, and then reattach it to that, and then pull it back up. But then in the process of that, the starter motor, for some reason, wasn't charging. Like, even though we'd motored all day, trying to get charged back into everything after all the rain. Something went really wrong with it, so in the spirit of trying to be a little bit safe, we opted, instead of anchoring overnight at Triangle Cliff, which was the plan, we scooted across the bay to Urangan Marina and checked in. We had to buy two new starter motors. In the process, found out the alternators were gone, and because of all the rain. We found every single leak in the boat, so there've been pots and bowls around collecting all of that, and oh gosh, I suppose it's just been a lot. And then, you know, next thing you got 7 whales circling the boat, and it's amazing and it's incredible, but that, like, they were like a metre away from the boat. Like, seriously, Jason was down on the sugar scoop, the steps that get you up onto the boat, and he had his hand out and was maybe another arm length away from the whales. Like, that's how close they were. And they know what they're doing. They don't want to hit the boat. They're obviously checking out how fabulous this catamaran is, and they're talking amongst themselves about how lovely it was. But it was incredible, but at the same time, it's really bloody frightening being that close to something so huge. Like one of them swam right up next to the boat. This is a 38-foot boat. That whale would have been easily 30, 32 foot. Like, just incredible, amazing, emotional, but scary. And so we've had a few days of that. And I suppose, for those of you that know me, I'm a bit of a glasses half full kind of person, and I've tried really hard to live a life of gratefulness. And certainly in the last sort of 10 years, I've really tried to embrace life with both hands and really appreciate what's possible and what kind of adventures I could be having, rather than what, at one point I was literally rocking in a corner. But now I really don't want to do that. I want to be out here and I want to be enjoying it. On the glasses half full side, we do want to go off and float off into the sunset sort of April next year. So maybe this is just a shakeout of all of the problems that needed to be felt before we go, so that we are okay when we're off into the big blue yonder. So I don't know. I feel like this has been a really great trip, and despite the fact that it's rolling like a mother at the minute, and I need more gin to cope with that. At the end of the day, this is what life is about. It's grabbing it with both hands and just bloody living it. And so that's what we're doing. So despite the fact that we've had a couple of tough ones and a few things that have made us a little bit sad and disappointed along the way, first world problems. We're out here and we're so lucky, and I feel really, really grateful that I've got this kind of sunset to look at, and I've got this kind of man in my life who is allowing me to be part of it and making it actually one of the best times in my life.
So with a new day, we decided to make our way back out of the bay and across to a couple of other little anchorages before heading back down the Great Sandy Straits and making our way home. The first anchorage we got to was Moon Point, which was really pretty, so calm, the water was amazing. So we had one night there, and then we skipped across to Big Woody Island where we had the most spectacular sunset. After that night, we made our way back down the Great Sandy Straits with a bit of time to do some boat jobs, because the water again was just like a mill pond. It was just so calm. We ended up at an anchorage overnight called Snout Point, which was crab central. Kitty was very impressed. Not before touching bottom a little bit, so unfortunately we didn't get out of there unscathed. But we did have the wind behind us, so we spent one very rocky, rolly night at Double Allen Point before scarpering all the way home. We got up at midnight and it was a full moon night, so the night sail home was fantastic, and we really had a brilliant sail all the way home. And so much so that we decided to come straight home rather than stopping off anywhere else. So all up, we had an amazing trip, and can't wait to get back up that way.